Oh, shit. Oh, no. Shit. Never mind. I know that got a little confusing. Hi, everybody. We're almost ready to go. We're going to take everybody in on the fly, but we hope you're having a good night. And we're just about ready to start. We really are. I think we'll be good. We'll be good to go. And thanks everybody for joining in tonight. Yeah, Andy's joining us on our conference scenario, but I've just started the stream, so I'm just gonna. So just Andy, just so you know, we are on the air, but not visually, just like you can hear us on the air. Let me just do a test with you before we start this officially. So. Hey, Andy, can you hear me?
I hear you, Dave.
Cool. All right. We're good to go. Yeah, check. John's feeling tired, so he's gonna tap out tonight. So it'll be you, myself, and maybe Ron. We'll stand by and find out. But thanks, Andy. I'll pot you down. We'll be ready to go.
Where the fuck's Tommy? Call him up!
Wow, you're feisty about it. Well, he was feeling bad this morning. That's what I heard from him. But I'll reach out to him. We'll see where his scenario. Nah, he wasn't feeling it. But oh my gosh, Ron too. All right, Andy. It's just gonna be the two of us tonight. I got lots to say though. It'll be all right. You ready to go?
I'm ready. I'm crestfallen. No one else is ready.
Me too. That's a bummer. Anyway, let's go ahead and start.
Doc Rivers continues to time and time again not get it when it comes to getting. Oh! Let him play.
You bet one bone to win 19. What site do you use where you can actually bet $1?
They let you do 50-cent bets.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, literally, like he dropped Superman down like the drain, comes out, like, God damn it, Superman. I don't know, honey. I don't know where he got that from.
From Los Angeles, this is Dave in the City,
Part of the DITCOW Sports Network.
Now, here's Dave Medina.
Good evening, sports fans, and a pleasure to have you here for the big football show. Good to have you with us from the Dave in the City studios at the home of champions, Southern California. And we're back with you for the football picks on a lighter staff show than usual tonight. But we're glad to be here with you tonight. And we had a good show planned. We had Tom in line to join us, and then he started feeling under the weather. I don't know exactly what. He says it's not COVID. Let's hope that's the case. We had Checker ready to recap his trip to Vegas, but he's understandably not feeling the greatest of energy. Ron can't make it either, so it's just Andy and me tonight. So let's just say hi to each other. Andy, good to see you again. And I know I was not ready for this small a group, but I've got a lot to talk about tonight. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, I was out of the mix last week, so good to be back. Just me and you, Tommy. I hope you feel better. And then I've got the Yankee sad song in my brain because they're losing. But if they win, then the Yankee good song will be in my brain. Every pitch, every at bat matters. I actually had a question for John, but he's not on. I wanted to know. I was actually saving it for the podcast. I could have texted him, but I wanted to know if he bet the. Eastern Carolina Marshall game, but I guess I'll just text him tomorrow. But I wanted to save it for the cast, but he's not available.
Well, I can actually text him right now. Hold on, and I can get you an answer. So he's not gonna know that you asked that question, but it's all good either way. So yeah, I know it's a bummer, but we do have. But it was a great week of football, though. I mean, it was really great, and I think we'll start with the NFL, where there was just so much juice. I mean, we had juice on top of juice. Right, and then let's do the usual spiel as far as setting up the football picks, folks. We had a lot of big upsets we had some big upsets in the NFL over the weekend, and we had some upsets in college football. We had some near upsets in college football. Bama taken to the limit, and
I'm watching the Phillies game.
Andy off camera was doing the dance over there in the corner, but anyway, a lot to talk about here with the college and the pro slate from last weekend, and we're happy to be back with you here. Let's hit it. Football picks, week number 4, and we continue on with our contest. And I was feeling it last week. I had some good fortune. I went 3-1 last week in picks. John right behind me at 2-2. Ron at 1-3 for week number 2, and Andy at 1-3 as well for week number 2. Chris in Syracuse had the guest picks, and Chris went 1-3 as well. So, you know, I mean, not the end of the world, honestly. I mean, it was a very tough week to pick games. Certainly was in college. And with that, the standings after 3 weeks are as follows. We have a tie first place between John in Connecticut and me. Both of us are 8-2. Ron is right behind at 6-4 for the season, and Andy just behind Ron at 5-5 for the season. The guest picks off to a very slow start, 1-4-1. We did skip a week, but we're going to make up the ground this week with Tommy's picks. And that sums it up for the football picks. So let's go back to Andy and tell us a little bit about the week that was. I mean, Andy, you know, honestly, it was a lot of juice. That was really fun to watch all those games. So we start with NFL. Like, what'd you think of all the action?
Oh, you want to go to? we'll do NFL first.
Yeah,
NFL first. Yeah. So, I mean, we could basically talk about every game because usually those other guys do a much better job, and then I'm like, yeah, those guys hit the nail on the head. So let's start. I mean, I watched so much football. So did you, I'm sure. Like, what you want to talk about that Washington Giants game?
That was wild. Yeah,
it was wild from like it was like the football version of eating a bad burrito. And just dealing with the aftermath on that, just questionable decisions, haunting penalties for the Giants. You think the Giants are going to win. The Washington kicks a field goal. Hold on now. There's a penalty, so they get to do it again. The Giants probably could have managed the clock a little better. All they did was they settled for that field goal at the end, gave a little too much time for Taylor Heinicke. But then at the same time, I think right before that, like, Heinicke threw an interception. It was just it's kind of an eyesore, a higher score game than I thought. You would have thought that game might have been a lower score, but 30-29, it is what it is. Redskins were one of my pick, the WFT was one of my pick. I thought they'd win by 3. They didn't. I'm probably going to continue to pick against the Giants until they cover. Actually, Daniel Jones, it wasn't his fault. They lost. I know he's been, very criticized, and a lot of times rightfully so, but he actually played really good. Remember that one maybe slightly overthrown, but the guy on the Giants, he wide open touchdown. He dropped it. Just very haunting. But as far as Thursday games go, I'd say it's pretty entertaining, wouldn't you, Dave?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was. I was not ready. You thought if it was going to be close, it was going to be ugly. But actually, both quarterbacks played pretty well. Like, it wasn't too bad at all. Like, it was interesting to think about Heinicke after Fitzpatrick went down like the week before, and I remember Ron was saying it might be a blessing in disguise, and it might well be. I mean, he had a pretty good game, so I was with it. And that game was pesky. I was worried about that spread the whole way. I'm like, damn, I don't know. Like, I don't blame you for taking the WFT there. I mean, but it's just that even with 3 points, it's like they didn't cover. It's just like, damn, like, that's crazy.
What's funny is that a lot of the magazines and the Mark Schlerish, the people that talk like this on the TV.
Right.
They had a lot of good things to say about the Washington defense. They got Chase Young, the guy from Ohio State, and they really haven't delivered yet. I know it's only been 2 weeks, so if Washington is going to continue to be pesky, and they were pesky last year, and I don't know Fitzpatrick, that kind of takes a little bit of the wind out of their sails. And I like Ron Rivera, I like Spicy Jack Del Rio. They've got a good coaching staff, in my opinion. They just got to shore it up on defense a little bit. And then also from a fantasy standpoint, way too little of Antonio Gibson for selfish reasons, and they let McKissick kind of vulture here and there. But and people were angry on the Twitter, like, why isn't Gibson getting the carry? Throw Gibson the ball. But that's fantasy for you. Maybe he'll get more of an active role. I think they play Buffalo this week. I should know. I'm looking at the schedule at lunch, but long season. But yeah, good Thursday game.
Yep.
And yeah, as you mentioned, the games on Sunday were really entertaining for the most part. I mean, even clunkers like Bengals, Bears, I watched with maybe like a quarter of an eye, not too much, but the Bears kind of hung on for dear life. They were up early. Dalton, I think, threw 3 interceptions, or not Dalton, the other Burrow threw like 3 interceptions, like back to back, but including 1 pick six. But they made a good comeback, and they had a chance to stop the Bears and get the ball back, but it didn't happen. Bears, obviously, they got quarterback issues. They want the fan base wants to see Josh Fields, and they're going to now by default. If Dalton didn't get hurt, I think Nagy would have just insisted on continuing with Dalton until, week 6, week 7 or whatever.
I know. That's what's annoying about that. Like, it literally took an injury for him to change to go to Fields. And I'm like, it should not take an injury for that to happen. I was just thinking about that this morning. It was so irritating. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. And then, I think we'll see. We're going to see Fields this week, and then the Bengals play your Steelers. Watched a lot of that Raiders-Steeler game. We talked offline. That was a pretty bad loss for the Steelers.
Yeah. And
maybe, Tomlin, this classic, kind of plays down to his opponent. I know it's easy to say in hindsight, or even whatever the opposite of hindsight is. Oh, Raiders coming off that high, going across the country, playing early. Short week after the Monday night game, then now they got to play the Steelers. Steelers had that great win against Buffalo, and it just didn't add up. Ben, I don't know how. Did you watch most of that game, Dave, on the ticket?
Well, I did. Well, it was actually on. It was on locally, actually, as it turned out. But that was that offense is tough to watch. I think that's what I've been noticing so far. Ben Edson just was brutal with the ball. Like all his passes were just like so off point. Like it was.
Yeah, it looked like it didn't. You didn't get a really good feel from it early in the game. I think he threw an interception early. They went for it on 4th down. And that turnover led to a Raider field goal, which haunting, as our friend LT would say, it was haunting. And then, second half, I think their offense started to gel a little bit more, but they got down 9. Tomlin had a questionable decision when he went to punt. 8 minutes left, down 9. Got to go for it. He didn't. They got it to within 2 again. And then, Dave, if you notice, like every time the Steelers had a chance to get Oakland off the field, Vegas, Gruden had some deep, gutsy, aggressive passes, and the Steelers couldn't stop them. So, great win for Las Vegas. They're 2-0 somehow, and now they play Miami. Yeah, good job out of them. Even that Browns Texans game, I just watched a little bit. Not much to say about that. The Texans covered. They got quarterback issues now too. No Tyrod Taylor, so the kid from Stanford's going to start the game tomorrow. Rams-Colts was pretty entertaining. Rams got out to a big lead. Stafford threw an interception. Colts made a comeback. Then Chili Farts, Carson Wentz got hurt. Jacob Eason comes in, throws an awful pick. And I'm not sure what the status is of Carson this week against Tennessee. I think Eason's playing. I'm not sure. He's got 2 sprained ankles. That's pretty gimpy, if you ask me.
Yeah, now that game was on locally too, so I was bouncing back and forth between the Rams and the Steeler game, and I am surprised that it took them that much effort to beat them. But, they did come back to get the win, so they were down. The Rams were down, and they managed to eke it out. I think that's a good win for them. It's never easy to win on the road, as I try to get myself back on screen on YouTube, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I think that it's just because Indianapolis looks so hideous against the local team over where you are, the Seahawks, and I just don't know how good they actually are at this point. I mean, a team with Carson Wentz, I couldn't believe that it was that close, but they were doing something right.
Yeah, I'm not a Carson Wentz fan. I think he's a clown. And he's hurt, so he made that first series they had first and goal at the 1. They didn't score. Then they got it down to the goal line again. He threw that shovel pass interception. He's just like mentally brain dead at this point.
Yeah.
He took a lot of hits when he was with Philly, so he's just, he's just like, blah. Carson Wentz doesn't move the needle, in my opinion. So they have a really tough schedule coming up, so they could be in for a long year.
Yeah.
And they got Jonathan Taylor. They got some weapons on offense, but they're just something's just not right for the Colts. So we'll see what happens. Bills killed Miami. Tua got hurt really early. I know our friend Captain's still mad at Josh Allen, but the game was like 21-0 early. Allen's not going to do much after that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good. Buffalo needed that after that, upsetting loss for them week 1 against the Steelers. So Miami's 1-1. Obviously, I watched a lot of the Patriots game, LOL Jets, Kyle Wilson. Belichick just loves to troll rookie quarterbacks, and he did. I don't even want to sound like I'm patronizing, like, good game, you guys tried your hardest, no big finger this way. But the Jets actually, their defense was decent. Defense played halfway decent. They held the Pats, to a bunch of field goals. It's just Wilson threw a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
Jets might have a long year. I didn't watch any of that 49ers-Eagles game. How about you?
No, neither did I, but I got a lot of updates from my 49er friends, and they thought that the Eagles had a pretty good defense going, so they gave them a lot of respect, so I'll take their word for it. But
and I didn't watch any of the Saints-Panther game.
There was not much to watch. If you take a look at the score, that was a disaster. You can see there. I mean, on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, but I do think that I have felt very good about the Panthers this year, even though I believe they lost in week 1. In fact, they might have lost very convincingly, and it could be okay. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do. But
Panthers beat the Jets week 1. Remember, there was like Darno was giving big finger to.
That's right.
To the Jets.
That's right. Yeah, good times. So that was definitely a storyline. If we'll take a look at the rest of these scores, we can see the late slate. Let's just fast forward to that, because that late slate was amazing. Every single game was juice. Every single game.
You didn't want to talk about Broncos Jags?
No. Oh boy, that point spread was nuts, wasn't it? Like I did not. I originally had like Jaguars as one of my picks for Checkers pool. No, I did not want to partake.
Don't take the Jags. Just keep bet against the Jags until they cover.
Yeah,
and then recalibrate.
Exactly.
I just thought the Broncos, and we're actually talking about the game. I thought the Broncos defense is really good. I thought they would just give Trevor Lawrence problems, and they kind of did. Jaguars scored on their first series of the game. And I just my mental image is Urban planning so hard for that first drive of the game where it's it's scripted, and then everything else just went flat. But yeah, the second slate day was amazing. Whether it's that Viking Cardinal game that was just back and forth, head on a swivel trying to keep up with that game. The embarrassing fourth quarter by LOL Seattle. That was a very entertaining game. You know, you're up 30-16. You got to finish that game, but let me get my pencil. You do not give up on the running game when you have Derrick Henry on your team. And that they didn't. They stayed with the ground. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's Derrick freaking Henry. He gets better as the game gets along. As the game goes along, up 30-16. He had that amazing 60-yard run to make it 30-23. And then each team kind of exchanged offensive blah. Titans get stopped on 4th and 2. Seattle gets the ball back with 5 minutes, up 7. That is when you need to seal the game. Fortunately, they went 3 and out. And Tennessee tied it. That's a bad loss if you're Seattle. A great win if you're Tennessee. But yeah, that could be a haunting loss for Seattle when at the end of the year, because that NFC West is just very competitive. Every game is going to be very important. And then obviously the Charger Cowboy game, very high octane, up and down, but not a very high score. Like crazy, not a ton of punts, and it was only a 20-17 game. The refs kind of ruined a lot of that game, in my opinion. I think both teams kind of got screwed. That's gonna be my theme in college, like or the NFL. These officials are just awful, top to bottom. It doesn't matter if it's NFL, doesn't matter if it's SEC, doesn't matter if it's MAC. These refs suck, Dave, and it was on full display Sunday with Nance and Romo in your backyard. Good game. Just way too many penalties.
My dad was complaining about that too. Just too many
Chargers,
flags.
Yeah, too many flags.
Poor Chargers. I thought that was the most surprising loss of the week. Maybe even a little more than the Raiders, and I would say even more than the Ravens game, which we're going to get to later, but that would really surprise me. Because I'm like, okay, the Cowboys might have a good game. I didn't think they were going to win. That was, like, did you think they were going to win? Did you see that coming?
I lost. I had Chargers.
Yeah.
Our friend, you say John in Connecticut, you said call Yachts, John in Orlando, whoever you know him by, or Georgia Roddy, he was like, he called it, gamble style. He called it. He was like, the stadium's going to be 90% Dallas fans. And it kind of was, although the Charger fans were loud, but you could tell it was majority Cowboy fans in the building. And he was like, typical Charger game. They kind of, they find new ways to just do weird stuff. Herbert threw a couple interceptions. And that Dallas defense is nothing to write home about. We have a lot of Dallas fans that Lou and V-Tread, you ask them, you don't even to give them the truth serum. They'll just tell you straight up the defense sucks. But
yeah,
it stepped up, and when, again, pencil talking point, like when your weakness shows up on a game and does good things, it makes a big difference. And their defense stepped up. I don't think we're going to get like that weird, crazy chaos in the NFC East that, last year was like, it'd be so cool if the division winner was 6-10. I don't think it's going to happen this year. Dallas. We haven't even talked about how dumb McCarthy was. We got away with it with the time.
Oh God, his clock management again. What a stupid decision. Like, why were you even running the ball at the end of the game? What the hell was that? So ridiculous.
And even
he got away with it. You're right.
With Dak, yeah. He got away with it though.
He really did. Like, he set up his team to lose trying to do that. Like a 56-yard field goal. Nobody's supposed to make that on the road and everything. He got so lucky. I just couldn't believe it. He literally did everything he could to lose that game in that last 2-minute stretch, and he still won. Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Sunday night? That was a fun game.
Yeah, what a game, huh? That was that. Wait, before we do that, let's get to the Vikings, because the Vikings had it all laid out, and it came down to the kick. It was like a 35-yarder, and it went sailed off to the Ryder to the left, one of those, but yikes.
Yeah, that was like for whatever reason, I had more interest in the other 3 games, and then my DirecTV or the Sunday Ticket on the internet, like it went Jim on me at the worst possible time. So I'm like, I got the Seahawks game on my regular TV, and then I got the Charger game on this monitor right here, and then on this, trying to watch the end of the Cardinal Viking game, and it just kind of crapped out on me, and so I missed the end of that field goal. But I saw, Murray's just had so many highlights in that game. He's a stud. He might be good at this game, Dave. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think the thing that's going to hold him back, as Checker always can tell you, is that I don't trust Kingsbury. Coach
didn't cover. Not this time.
But yeah, now that they're playing the Jags, I'm gonna stay away from that one. I'm gonna probably take Arizona on money line with the parlay, but I'm not gonna take them to lay the 7.
Yeah, I like the call.
I can't take Jacksonville +7 either.
True.
Stay away from that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think there's enough points to take with Jacksonville. A good example of that. Now let's not skip ahead to the Detroit game yet. Let's stay on the Baltimore one, because that was a game. What a game! It just, nobody would really let go. Like, they were going back and forth. Then it ended in a fumble. Like, of all things, like that really came out of nowhere too. I was like, oh yeah, here comes the Chiefs to take the lead in the game, and then boom, fumble. Who saw that coming?
It was wild. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching that game, and a tremendous place to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yep.
Plug. I'm just kidding. But it was like the first half, Lamar threw 2 interceptions, and I made a Bach tweet, because I don't love Lamar. I'm not a Lamar hater. It's just, he is what he is, and he has documented struggles against the Chiefs. And I just made a tweet like, here come the Lamar haters. He made 2 interceptions, and here they come. In bunches. The same people that hate the NBA hate Lamar. Here they come. And, he proved them wrong. Made some great throws. That Chiefs pass defense is definitely suspect. But, Dave, you're right. Like, the game, Mahomes threw a crazy interception when he was like off balance. He just kind of like threw it when he was like halfway getting tackled. That was kind of crazy. You don't see Mahomes do that. And then, when on the last drive, when Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbled, like the previous 2 plays, it was just like boom, boom. They're basically in field goal range. This game is over. And I was thinking, how is Baltimore? Just hold them to a field goal, because I got Baltimore +4. I do not give up a touchdown. And Kelsey could have done any. Kelsey, he actually probably could have had a much better game for some reason. He had 7 catches and a touchdown, but that last drive, I feel like they should have just like continued to throw the ball rather than put it in Clyde Edwards' hands. And yeah, crazy things happen. That game was 35-24 KC, but it just, you just had this weird feeling that, Baltimore wasn't going to go down without a fight. And because that KC's defense as a whole is suspect. Like, you could run it on them, like as the Browns can prove, like, you could run it on them. So that defense is a very big liability. They can get away with it most times because their offense is such a superior showcase. But they got to shore up that defense, Dave.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it was. I'm not
Tennessee
sure.
like you said, Tennessee had that blueprint a couple years ago too.
Yeah.
To run it on them.
Yeah, and teams are doing that. Even this year, they're running on them so we've seen it already. And it's going to be an interesting challenge for them when they face the Chargers, because Austin Eckler, another solid running back. So I'm going to be very interested in that one. So I think, well, we were going to say we have the Packer game. That was a frustrating game. I was on Detroit. They were covering, they were winning, and it's like there's a reason why they were getting 11.5 points at Lambeau Field. It's like they stink, and their coach stinks, and Jared Goff stinks.
Dan Campbell, he's pretty ooga booga. Oh, he's pretty ooga booga.
Oh, he's the worst. So, once the Packers got rolling in the third quarter, it was just like the sinking feeling for anybody who was backing Detroit in that game. And it's like, at the end of it, like, well, why did I back Detroit? It was stupid. It was a dumb bet. And so you always think at the end of it.
Yeah, but they had a chance. You saw that throw by Goff, like a minute left in the game. Because do you remember that?
No, I tuned out by then. I got to be honest. I clicked out by then.
Yeah, they had a chance. Because I was on the other side. I had Green Bay, and I was like, ooh, they almost covered. Aaron Judge just tied the game on a wild pitch.
Whoop, whoop.
It's always about the Yankees, whether
you have bet on them a lot during these shows. Like I
actually have no action on them. I have no action on them tonight, but because of all the AL wildcard stuff, pay attention.
Right on. It's also good content.
It really is. Actually, I know we're getting off track here, but Steve Phillips was on with Dog, and they were talking about the Yankee organization, and Phillips was like, they're not going to status quo for 2022. They're not firing Cashman. They're not firing Boone. And all I could do is picture, like, Yankee Twitter typing in all caps, being like, get the pitchforks out. We need to make some changes.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally would have seen that coming too. We have somebody in chat, James Lill. Hey guys. Hello, James Lill. Good to see you back. I remember you were asking about the Week 0 games. If you have any questions about advice you need for this week in NFL or college, feel free to ask because we're a little short. We're shorthanded tonight. It's just Andy and me. So let us know if you have anything you want to know. That pretty much wraps it up for the recap of last week's action. And again, it's going to be a long time before I bet on Detroit to do anything. That was a disgrace. Like, to be up by that many points and not find a way to at least cover that is just...
Yeah, I just looked at it now. That's one of those... Their last play of the game was 4th and 3 from the Green Bay 32, and he threw it in the end zone and almost caught it, Dave.
Oh, for the cover purposes, yeah.
For the cover.
Wow. Yeah. Would have been a bad beat for... That would have been a mega bad beat if they caught that thing. So, yeah, I missed out on that part. But at any rate, let's get to this week's action after we do the picks for the NFL. So Andy, sit tight. We got a lot of written picks this week. So let's start. I'll give you my picks first. This will be quick, really quick. Picks for Week 3 NFL. Here we go. All right. So we're gonna start this. We've done really, really well with the NFL to start the season. So I'm curious as to whether this will hold up. I don't feel like it's sustainable, but we're gonna stay to our principles, and the principles are locate the value, and we're gonna start with the team that just won. They eked out a win. People say they have a great defense that hasn't proven it too much to start the season, but I still believe in them. And they're gonna go out to Buffalo, who just came off of 35-0 that win against against Miami. So the football team are going to come into this as a 7.5 point underdog. We're going to take the points. So we're going to go Washington at the Bills in what I really do think is going to be a closer game because I feel like the pressure can get to Allen, and if it does, it's going to get very interesting. So keep an eye on that game. Hopefully it'll be a good game for everybody. Game number 2, we're taking more value. This game started with the Rams being a 2-point favorite, and suddenly they're a 1.5 point underdog against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm curious, Andy, when I'm done with this part, I wonder if you think that that's a movement from the Sharps or a movement from the public. I think it's a movement from the public. So for that reason, I'm going to ride the home team. Home underdogs are generally good plays anyway, and I think that their defense is pretty solid. So I think we'll see what the Bucs can do against them on the road. But I'm going to be on the side of the home team. We'll go Rams plus 1.5 to go with Washington plus 7.5 for Week 3 NFL. So, yeah, Andy, what do you think? Do you think that action is public action or sharp action?
So let's just do that. I don't know if you're going to preview these games, but let's do the de facto Tampa Ram preview right now.
Okay.
I don't know what the movement stems from, to be honest with you. I was thinking about this game, and I know the Rams beat them last year. Tom isn't going to look past, Tom's playing New England next week. Remember, Tom used to play for the Patriots. So that'll be a big
Return to
game.
New England. Yeah.
And this is just kind of like, I can close my eyes and kind of see this happen, and it'll be fun. I like to balk. So I can see the Rams winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns, Brady having a bad day, and all the freaking clowns, our friend JB on the Twitter being like, LOL, Brady's old, Max Kellerman being like, yeah, Tom sucks. And Tom having it happens every year where Tom has a bad game. Last year he had a bunch of them. The Saints games he was bad. The Ram game, I think that was an ESPN game. He wasn't great. So I can see Tampa losing by 14 points or more, and everyone being like, oh, they've got holes, they got flaws, and then Tom and Arians and company being like, we'll figure it out. It's a long season, just one game. But in this just one game, yeah, I don't know. I'd probably bet LA at this moment.
Yeah.
They look totally different with that whole Stafford Cup connection. It's good. They're gelling.
Yeah, I love it. I people are like, well, Stafford's so old, this isn't going to be worth it. Dude, this is a great transaction so far. And look, if you want to see what Goff's doing, go over to the Lions. Watch the Lions game. He's just as bad as he always was. He just can't throw the ball straight. He gets sacked all the damn time. I mean, I don't think the Rams could put up with that anymore. There's too much offense all around them to put up with that kind of quarterback play. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. So
it's a great game, Dave.
Oh yeah.
The late games again are good. I mean, Jets, Broncos notwithstanding, but Vikings, Seahawks is good, and this game's good.
It's great that they're.
Tua not being there kind of hurts, but Dolphins Raiders game could have some juice. Unfortunately, no Tua, but
I wonder about that one. That's an interesting thought.
They had that weird game around Christmas last year. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, it did. It was weird. You're right. So I'm not.
Weird.
I wouldn't write off the Dolphins either. I think that that's the kind of go where they want to get you to. Like, well, the Raiders had this big win. Oh, they'll beat him easily. That's where they get you all the time. If you're Mr. Public, or if you're King, what do you call that? Joe Public. You would totally be.
Joe Public, Joe Square, whatever.
They'd be all over the Raiders. Oh, I got to be the Raiders. We're gonna do double units on it. We're gonna go. I'm not gonna quite go there. We'll see where I end up going for real. With the rest of the slate. So let's continue picks, and we're gonna go to John's picks for the for week 3. So
there's John.
Yeah, there's John. I got a photo of him. It's pretty cool. Nice golf shirt. So let's see what John has for us in week 3. He's gonna start with some value himself. Well, this. I gotta admit, this one is a little bit. This is wild to me, but he's going to go with Falcons getting 3 against the Giants. I believe this.
I love it.
You like it?
I love it. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll have to. I'm gonna change it. I don't want a checker on a checker, but I wrote this down.
I dig it. All right, so that's game number 1. Game number 2, John will play the additional value with the Chargers coming off the loss to the Cowboys at the Chiefs, who are also coming off a loss, but the Chargers are getting a touchdown and a half. So, or 6 point, not touchdown and a half, but they're getting a touchdown and half a point. So
I see 6.5 too.
Yeah. So Chargers plus 6.5 for John in Connecticut to go along with Falcons plus 3. Week 3 picks. Pretty good. All right. So let's continue. We'll go to Ron's picks, and give me a second to finagle. Hi, Andy. We're gonna switch you over to Ron's picks. I don't have a picture for Ron.
Yes, the agency. Look at that logo.
I love that logo, right? Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? If you're watching on YouTube. So here are the picks for Ron in New Jersey for the NFL Week 3. He's gonna go with the Jaguars. See, this is wild. But
That's a salvo.
It is, but I kind of see it because the Jaguars getting 7 against the Cardinals. That's like the Cliff Kingsbury theory that John's been telling us about. So Ron's gonna play it. So he'll be going Jaguars +7 at home. Game number 2, he's going to go with, get your pen ready, you might have to change this one too. Steelers giving 3 at home against the Bengals for Ron's second pick. So again, Jaguars +7 and Steelers +3. How about that? So Andy, with that, we are just about ready for your picks. And when you're ready to go, let's hear them.
All right. Yeah. Game number 1, I'm gonna put on my 1, 2, 3 believe, 1, 2, 3 magic, 1, 2, 3 shut the fuck about my team, Pat, and I'm gonna take the Pats -3 against the Saints. It's the Cam Newton year last year was just kind of like a stopgap year. I'm excited about Mac Jones. He really hasn't had to do much. They stripped down playbook a little bit. It's not very exciting, but it's not exciting to watch in real time, but it's exciting to see the process unfold. I'm kind of a homer with this pick. I think they're going to have a pretty good year. I got a little P-Dot in me right now with the Patriots. What am I going to do? I bet on them to win the AFC East. I think eventually Mac is going to be asked to do a little more, but right now he hasn't had to do much. They run the ball, intermediate routes, play action, curls, slants, nothing crazy. And defense is good. Hard to evaluate them off the Jets win because it's the Jets. I'm sorry. But, and then the Saints. Yeah, the Saints. Hard to evaluate the Saints because they've had 2 polarizing games, kill Green Bay and then look very underwhelming against the Panthers. They're probably somewhere in between. Have you looked at Alvin Kamara's stats from the Panther game? They're crazy. I don't think the Patriots gonna keep him in check like Carolina did in week 2. That's gonna be a focus point. Bill's gonna try to limit Kamara's ability, and he's going to try to get Winston to do stupid stuff. And then offense, I know New Orleans has a good defense, but I think Patriots will just try to keep it close to the vest, try to keep the time of possession to their advantage, and win something like 20-13, 24-17, something like that. Give me New England. And they're not looking past this game with Tampa next week, one game at a time. We're on to New Orleans. Game number 1. This coffee's giving me the burp, but it's a great coffee. It's a little apple Americano.
Ooh.
Yeah, screw pumpkin. Dave, I told you, we're grassroots campaign. We're going to bring apple. Apple is the fruit of the fall. None of this pumpkin stuff. And it's the first day of fall. Anyway, game number 2. I actually am going to both of John's picks. I really liked, and I love the Falcons pick. We're going to play it in real life, but we're not going to use it on the contest on this podcast pick, but we will stick with the Chargers because that was I was going to pivot to the Chargers when you said John was going to take the Falcons, and then when you said, well, John's also going to take the Chargers, I'm like, well, I'm not going to pivot a third time or a second time. I love the Chargers pick too. Why? Because the Chargers just have a tenacity of keeping these games when they're the underdog really close. Their record's actually pretty poor in one possession games, but you don't have to win. They're getting 6.5. So, sorry about this, Yachts, preemptively, or congratulations, Yachts, preemptively. I think it's going to be a close game. Dave, I think you probably think this is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun game. Nance and Romo, 10 a.m. our time. I don't think Herbert's going to throw 2 interceptions like he did against Dallas. You mentioned their running back. Keenan Allen has kind of kicked it into like a gear I didn't think he knew he had. I don't know if Keenan Allen even knew he had this third gear, but he's great. I don't know. He's a good fantasy player now. And yeah, I think the issue for the Chargers is going to be offense. It's just going to be trying to keep Mahomes from doing Mahomes things. I can't wait to watch this game, Dave. I think it's going to be a very fun game. Give me Chargers plus 6.5 with New England 1-2-3 -3 against the Saints.
I love that a lot. We'll get into more detail on that game as we do our preview, our official, look ahead, our official this week's action segment. But I do like that game, and so let's go to the guest picks from Tom in New Jersey, and we let him have the option of having 4 picks, and he's shaking his head up.
He should only get 4 because if he came on and give him the 8, but since he didn't come on, give him the 8 because you're gonna have to. You need 4 picks at some point to get the guest pick caught up at some point.
I wish he could have come on though. I mean, that's just. Let me go back to 2-Shot for a second. I mean, I'm disappointed. I mean, I understand maybe he's not feeling well, but you only had to go on Zoom.
We're shaming him. It's okay. It's all in good fun.
Yeah, we hope you're feeling all right, though, in all seriousness, Tom. So let's get your picks. All right, here we go. And they are as follows. Here we go. So let's take this. Okay, so for Tom in New Jersey, 4 picks from the NFL. 4 picks. So pick number 1. He's going to go checker and a checker with Ron and take the Steelers giving 3 at home against the Bengals. Steelers coming off a really miserable loss. I know that well. I was watching the whole game. I was watching most of the game, so I'm familiar. I don't know what they're going to have against the Bengals. I do know that the Bengals are going to bring it offensively, so I don't think this is by any means a lock, but I do think they're going to try to really, really lock down Cincinnati, and we'll see if their defense can hold up this time. We'll take a look at it. So Steelers -3, pick number 1. Pick number 2 for Tom in New Jersey. He will go. Is anybody on that? Yeah, I already did my pick. So yeah, so he's checker and a checker with me, and he's gonna take the Rams getting the 1.5 against the Bucs. So we talked about that already. Pick number 3 will also be checker with Dave, and he's going Washington plus 7.5 at the Bills. Pick number 4 for Tom. Andy, check your sources too, because he had it at plus 9. Will you allow? I would probably allow that. I thought it was 8.5. What do you see?
Baltimore, Detroit.
Yeah.
Right now, I see 8 on our site that we use, Superbook Vegas Insider.
Yeah, I didn't see any 9s anywhere. You must have taken it earlier in the week, but I'm probably going to bring that down to 8. So, hey, he's not here. He can't defend it. So we're gonna
8. It is what it is, Dave.
It is what it is. So Lions getting 8 against the Ravens, and I said it already. Good luck to him, but I do not trust the Lions in any scenario with a point spread right now. So best of luck with that one, Tom. And despite having already 4 picks, he still has provided a bonus pick for the purposes of the podcast.
He knows this. Like, he knows that's like his thing. It's his thing. What's the bonus?
All right, let's go reveal the bonus pick right here. The bonus pick is Panthers giving 8 at the Texans, which is a good pick. I actually think it's a good pick. So the guest picks for Tom in New Jersey, Week 3 NFL, and he adds at the end, take notes, Andy.
I'm a sponge.
Love it.
Always trying to get that soak.
All right, so let's look at this week's action. We've got some pretty solid games again. And I will say this, I think you would agree that these games, the NFL schedule is on the moon compared to the college football schedule this week. I mean, this is a good slate. Look at this. We've got the Washington versus the Bills. I will qualify that as a feature game because I think Washington's been in every game. Like the 2 games, they won one, they lost one, but they've been in both. So I think that is going to be a very pesky team at the Bills. We'll see if the Bills, because the thing is, I don't know what the defense is going to bring in that game. And then we talked about Chargers Chiefs, and this is the shame of CBS not having the doubleheader. They are forced to put this at 1 o'clock Eastern time. This is screaming 4:25, 5:20, or sorry, 4:25, 8:20, or 8:15 on Monday. Like, that's a great game for like a late slot. But they have to do it in the early slot because CBS has the single header. Bucs versus Rams, that is the America's game of the week on Fox, I believe. I'll check 506, but I would be surprised if it wasn't. Like, I imagine if the Viking game was the one that had Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Like, I'd be surprised. But that's kind of a shame for that other game because they're going to get barely as many audience members as the Rams game. But that's a great game, too. Seahawks Vikings will be a banger. That's going to be a close game. Packers 49ers, Eagles Cowboys. Down. I don't know if you would put that there, but I think it's worth it because the Eagles and the Cowboys are kind of jostling for that top of the division. And so they're both 1-1. This would be a litmus test for both teams. We'll see what happens there. So, Andy, let's take a look at these featured games. What do you think of all this action?
Yeah, first of all, my bad. I should have remembered that you had the Steelers Raiders game locally, because I look at the map and it's Vegas, and it's the morning game. It's the doubleheader. Yeah, no, Dave's getting the local game. Do you have Sunday ticket though anyway, or do you go to sports bar if you need to?
I would have to go to the bar for like other scenarios, and so it's actually worked out fine because the Steelers get on plenty of times. Like, it's never a real issue.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love looking at the maps now, and yeah, Nance will be paying attention to the Ryder Cup as this is going on. You know it. He's actually going to be on the Ryder Cup on Friday. I listened to a podcast with Nance. And I know it's very inside baseball, but he's going to be at the Ryder Cup on Friday. And then he's flying to Kansas City that night for, like, the production meetings. Yeah, it's good job out of Nance.
Nice.
He's a fan. He likes sport. But, yeah, it's and if you look at the map for the late game, yeah, it's like the Seattle, the Northwest upper half through the Midwest is getting Minnesota, Seattle, and then the rest of the country going to be getting Tampa and Los Angeles. That's Buck and Aikman. Seattle, Minnesota is Kevin Kugler and Mark Hot Dog Sanchez.
Oh, man. So that's not much of that's a tiny audience if it's those guys. Let me go take a look.
It's a big portion of the – I mean, go on 506 if you want.
Let's take a look.
They're big stage, but yeah, small population.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of,
you know what I mean?
A lot of land area, but it doesn't mean a lot of people.
100%. Yeah, it's a great. I love the maps. Yeah, and Fiddle, our buddy Fiddle, was tweeting out. I mean, they're like, what area? You look up his Twitter account, but he was like, this area of the country is getting Washington, Buffalo instead of Atlanta. Giants. Oh, I think Philly is getting Washington, Buffalo instead of Giants, New York. Well, I'm like, maybe it has something to do with Atlanta and Giants having a combined 0 wins.
That's what I was thinking too. I saw that tweet. I'm like, yeah, Fitz, I mean, the Giants aren't that good. I think I even said it, like, LOL, like, sorry, Fiddle, in the tweet. But that's pretty much it.
But anyway, but back to the actual games. Yeah, it's just like nothing's really bad right now because, I mean, the Atlanta Giants game notwithstanding, because like the season's early and every team is still kind of pretty optimistic. But so like if you're gonna, we can talk about Ryder Cup too, but yeah, I'm gonna have the Ryder Cup on. I'm gonna have Chiefs in the KC game. Or Chiefs Chargers game. That's like the big breakfast game, and then I'll be watching your team in Burrow. It's weird when Ben admits he's injured, he almost like plays better when like going into the games like, oh, Ben's banged up, when he's always looked banged up and old now, but now he actually has a pectoral issue. Like, he might actually play better now, as weird as that sounds. And then Indianapolis, Tennessee is kind of blah, although I like Andrew Catalan as an announcer. We talked about the Pats game. We'll be into that. Washington, Buffalo's sneaky intriguing. And then, if you're just for fantasy purposes, if you're a Clemson Mongo, everyone wants to see, how the Kyler Murray show, and then see how Trevor Lawrence is doing with Jacksonville. That's your Gus Johnson game, Dave.
Oh, I love that. I'm glad they're mixing him in, putting him in the mix more. I know we've talked about him on Twitter, but it's good. It's good. I like it.
I think, to be 100% fair, like the Arizona team like suits his style. I'd rather have Gus Johnson call an Arizona game than like a Big Ten team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sick of Ohio State to begin with. Like that's probably another why I don't like Gus Johnson always, because he's always calling Ohio State games.
Right.
And I hate Ohio State. It's just like ugh.
Well, they're always playing at noon too. That's all. That's the other reason why it always happens, because they always do that game at like noon Eastern or 9 o'clock our time, and so it just lines up. Like all the stuff lines up.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Everything looks good here, but yeah, that late slot looking pretty solid. And then let's.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna ramble about that Dallas Eagle game. Yeah, they're NFC East. They all count. And I'm going to borrow what Dog said earlier this week. He's like, these NFC West games are going to be like killers. Like, but right now, like if San Francisco's worst enemy last year was injury. Like they're all pretty good teams. So once Seattle and LA and Arizona and San Fran meet, like those are going to be some crazy games. I know, like we always see the NFC East goes so competitive. We must watch. This year, I think it might be the NFC West that gets that, moniker.
Yeah. I was saying to John when we were talking about, I'm not sure if you were in the mix or not. Maybe you were in the mix for this too, but I remember when I was saying to John about that. It's like before the season, you could have picked any team in the NFC West to win the division, and that would have been a good pick. Like everyone would have said, "Oh, that's a good pick." You could have picked Arizona, could have picked Seattle, Rams. I mean, I feel like they could all finish at 500 or better. I don't remember a year where that's happened. It's very possible this year. They all look solid.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the Patriots go 11-5 and miss the playoffs. Like it,
right?
It can happen.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything can happen. Believe.
Love it. So with that, we segue. I think that was all the games, right? What was going on at night? Let me see.
Night game is San Fran, Green Bay.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's get on that. So
that's huge.
It is huge,
but that's a good uniform matchup. It's a great. Aaron Rodgers, sensitive Aaron Rodgers versus 49ers, his home team. I'll probably take San Fran right now.
I would as well, because I feel like they might be in the position of reading their own press clippings after beating down Detroit late in that game. So that's where the value is to me. I think the home team's got the value. Even though they're a favorite, I still think they're valuable, because I feel like the Packers, they probably would be like a 5 or 6 point favorite if it weren't for the Packers on national TV throwing around like Detroit. That was my thought. But okay, let's go to college action. And let us see. Last week's action. I don't have a lot to say about this week, Andy, because I was not in the mix for a lot of these games. But boy, was there action! Holy cow! I really missed out on the Alabama game. That was the classic. I'm so disappointed in myself for not getting around it. I was just outside and doing other stuff. But let's get your thoughts. I mean, they survived. It was as exciting a game as you could imagine, and that was just the beginning of a lot of action. UCLA lost though. We kind of called that one. I felt.
No, we didn't just kind of call it. We called it. We called it.
We called it for sure.
We called it.
That was just, you could have seen it coming from a mile away.
What are your true thoughts on Chip Kelly? Do you think he's good? Do you think like this is like a classic Chip Kelly? Like you could have had a chance to have a pretty good season or keep the momentum of the conference going. We know Fresno State's good. This podcast has been on top of Fresno for a few years now.
Right.
So, like, we want Fresno to do well, but, like, also LOL Chip Kelly, too, but also, like, come on, Pac-12. I was very conflicted by everything while that upset was going on.
Yeah, that's fair because, it's like they take 1 foot as a conference. The Pac-12 takes a step forward and then 2 steps back. And then,
yes, we could talk. We could have a fucking show just about the Pac-12 right now.
I know. We could go on forever about that. It's just so disappointing. It's like you feel like the talent is there, and there's just too much Mongo in the coaching ranks, and other scenarios conspire to keep this.
David Shaw is a freaking disruptor. He is a disruptor. He disrupted the Pac-12 this year.
He did. So wasn't that frustrating when I'm sure you had Vanderbilt. I'm sure you had Vanderbilt. Did you have
No, I didn't.
You didn't have Vanderbilt.
No, I took Stanford. I told T.I. I'm going to bet every Stanford game this year, either on or. So right now, I'm actually 2-1 involving Stanford games.
Wow. Good job out of you.
So far, because I took Kansas State.
Okay.
I took USC.
Right.
And then I took Stanford. So 2-1.
Nicely done. Yeah, that's a good pivot. Because, Vanderbilt's still a bad team. I just thought, well, maybe this would be the one where, no, not really. They're still a year away, I think. So all right. So, good. So, do you have them picks? Just quick question. You don't want maybe no, don't give it away. Don't give it away. We'll get to that when we get to it. But I am interested what you think about Stanford this week. That's basically what I'll say. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Let's talk about last week's action.
Sure.
What a week of football. And as far as the Pac-12, staying on Pac-12, Slovis gets hurt for USC, and this kid that no one's heard of,
Jackson Dart. I was gonna ask Dave about Jackson freaking Dart, Gatorade Player of the Year, but I'm like, how many players is there? Like a Gatorade Player of the Year? There's like Parade All-American Player of the Year. Like how many Player of the Years are there now? I bet Ron. That's why we need Ron.
We could have really used Ron tonight.
Is it better to be Parade Player of the Year or Gatorade Player of the Year?
It would have been a great spot for Ron. I was looking forward to that too. That's a bummer. But yeah, Dart looked great. He was sharp. He had a ability.
Dart, he's your guy.
Yes.
You gotta stick with Dart. Jackson Dart. Great fucking name.
It's a great name. I agree with you. So what a great win that was for USC coming back, and it's that's why I can't bet on them right now. I have no idea. I think they might actually do their job now. This is it's very different. They won 43 to 17 against Washington State.
Yeah.
Good job.
I read this article, Dave, about Graham Harrell, your OC, and they were like, he's got to answer why Slovis took a step backwards because Slovis 2 years ago looks like Dart now, but how come Slovis looks so just kind of blah against Stanford? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
I don't have a. Well, I think the thing with Slovis is that you're right. He hasn't really lived up to the expectations after that first year. And I mean, the one thing that everyone kept saying about USC the first couple weeks was man, their offense really hasn't really taken off. Man, they're just a little slow. They're a little out of sync. You said it against Colorado. You said it against who they play after that or before that, whoever that was.
They played the Stanford week 2, or when
it
was
they definitely did against Stanford.
Week 1.
Yeah, that was rough. Yeah, that still was rough. You still got to beat Stanford though. That was ridiculous. So, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. They dumped on Clay Helton early. It's a good. I don't even know who the name of the guy that took over is. It doesn't even matter at this point. But it's a good spot for SC. So, but I really do want to hear what you thought about the Alabama game because
sure.
It's a different year for them for sure, isn't it?
So the quarterback is. Not to sound like Gamble, the team is obviously very talented. It just needs to gel a little bit, and they got up big early, and then they had to hang on for dear life. Their defense was a little exposed. The Florida quarterback played a lot better than what these guys anticipated. Emory,
the pen wavers.
Yeah, and then I'll be the first to admit, Alabama in the first half had drives extended because of some very questionable defensive penalties called against Florida. It just happens, It just happens, Sometimes it's you that gets the benefit of the doubt with the calls, and sometimes it's the refs hate the Giants, that type of stuff. And for whatever reason, the refs hated the Florida Gators in the first half. And I'm sure Saban after the game was like, we need to shore it up. We need to clean it up on defense, because Florida could do anything they wanted to in the second half. And Alabama's offense, just like once they scored like on their first 3 drives, and then everything just got a lot harder for them. So credit to Florida's defense for kind of making Alabama look relatively human. And we might see you might see a rematch in December, depending who comes out of the East. They're either going to be Florida or Georgia,
Right.
And now Alabama, their schedule is cake now, because they, they'll be fine with Auburn. We talk about that Auburn-Penn State game in a bit. Like that Texas A&M game, it's in College Station, but that quarterback, I think he's out for a while now. I'm not sure. I didn't Google it. I got to do my research for that. That game is on October 9th anyway. That was like their hardest game on their schedule. Like the Florida game and the Texas A&M game, both on the road, were like their hardest games going into the season. Though I don't know if they play Ole Miss. Victor, pop up the Alabama schedule, would you please? But if the Ole Miss, they're very talented now too, with Lane Kiffin scoring 60 points against your Willie Fritz team. Willie Fritz tried so hard to keep that game in check. I watched a lot of that game too. That game started 2 hours late because of rain. Poor Willie Fritz.
Yeah, that was
Lane
rough.
Kiffin was going for it on like 4th and 2 from their own 30.
That's on brand. That is on brand.
Yeah, it's so on brand. Just like he wanted to try. He wanted to score like 90 points.
Oh man! But good for them.
No, it was Alabama. I'm sure they're just a different team now. Back in the day when we first started doing this podcast, it was like teams weren't scoring at the rate that they score now. It was like 35-3. That's how they would win, and they would just kind of methodically score the points. Now it's even teams score 35 points at halftime now. Like every team tries to mimic like the Big 12 style. Boom, 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 boom. We can talk about Oklahoma too. Freaking frauds.
Yeah, that was rough. I really didn't trust them this year, but that was ridiculous. Like, I mean, I didn't think they would struggle to score. Did they even get to 25 points? Did they even get to 27 points against?
It was 23-16 was the final.
Yay. And it was a lot less than that for most of the game. And I just kept getting texts. Like my friend coach texted me, how the hell is Nebraska only like one touchdown behind Oklahoma? And it's like, this is not the Oklahoma offense we all were accustomed to. So, and by the way, that probably means Rattler's a fraud too, because everybody said that he's the favorite to win the Heisman. I'm not giving it to him.
Are you worried about Walker Buehler? You following this Dodger game?
No. I turned off my screen. Did he
They're
have
up
to leave?
3-0. It's 5-3 Colorado. Buehler got taken out in the 4th inning.
It does happen though. Like, what was crazy? He was just mowing him down. And then, like, on Sunday Night Baseball, you see that game against the Giants where you just got smashed.
Yeah, I saw that, and even LA Twitter was mad at Buehler. Like, dude, Buehler is like invincible against the Giants up until the start, and then whoever was doing the game was like, one thing about Walker Buehler is like, he's gonna bounce back from this, and he did. And so, fuck, Dave. I took Buehler against the Reds I think the last start was against the Reds.
Yeah.
And he lost. And then I was like, well, he's going to bounce back. And he didn't. So now, like, if the Dodgers have a Jay Hoff, if there's a Jay Hoff in Dodger Twitter, he probably wants Walker Buehler, like, no food, no treat, no water. You stay outside. You stay outside, Walker Buehler. No treats for you.
Oh, man. Yeah. I did want to put that on. I just was like, I couldn't figure out how to do it, because I just wanted to make sure that I had all of that.
They have plenty of time. They can get back. But the Rockies are pesky. They're only 10 games under 500. I thought
Yeah.
at one point they were like on pace for like 90 losses or whatever.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter what the hell the records are with those two teams. I always worry when I go to Coors Field. I always worry. You have to throw that shit out. You just never know. The game can get out of hand quickly, and it looks like it's going to happen tonight. It's probably going to be like an 18 to a 17 or maybe a 12 to 10.
Bounce back. Dodgers got some. They got some bounce.
They sure do.
Put me in. Let me hit. Let me coach.
Oh man, yeah, I love
Fire
it.
Dave Roberts.
You believe me, that's been used a lot this year. I'm sure. Even
So Spencer Rattler, like, I just feel like Oklahoma, they try to score a touchdown on every play, and it hasn't happened yet.
no.
And I would take West Virginia this week, getting 16.5.
That's an interesting call. I was wondering about that too. I did see that. It's not one of my picks, but I like the call. I endorse that call for sure. I'm trying to get the Dodger game back as we do this, but yeah, no. And then you were talking about Auburn. I don't know why anybody would take Auburn on the road. That's just not a good decision. Some people did. I'm like, no.
They almost covered. They almost won outright. The refs screwed over. I hate James Franklin. He's Mark Mongo.
Right.
He looks like Mark Mongo, but he had every right to like stomp around and ooga booga because like the refs completely screwed up. They had Penn State punt on 3rd down because they totally screwed up the downs. Google it, look it up, watch the YouTube, look at. And James Franklin's like, it's 3rd down, but they totally screwed it up on an intentional grounding penalty. And then they just totally skipped it down, and the marker said 4, and James like, it's 3rd down. It's 3rd. Someone's head has to roll for that. Like you cannot screw up a game like that. And they did.
How can that's like Little League stuff or like football Little League stuff, you know, Pop Warner stuff. Like you can't. I don't know. That is just bad. I didn't know about that.
In between that, I don't know if you watch any of the Boise State Oklahoma State game, but I was tweeting about it like a clown because I was angry, rightfully so. Boise State had a scoop and score. They were down 21-20 with 3 minutes left. Oklahoma State fumbled. Boise State recovered it for a touchdown. Unfortunately, they blew the whistle. They said he was down, and then they looked at it like, oh, no, that's a fumble. But because we blew the whistle, no touchdown. It was Big 12 refs, too. Like, that is such a joke. And then Boise State had to settle. They get the ball back instead of getting the defensive touchdown. They get the ball at the Oklahoma State 20, and then they get their field goal blocked. They would have gone up 23-21. So they lost outright. I was so angry. I'm still angry about it.
Yeah, and then there was one more that was just an absolute doozy. I think it was very similar lines, like there was a kickoff return or a punt return that got called back, and it involved an SEC team, and they issued a statement about. Oh, you remember that game?
That was Mike Leach, and actually that worked out because I had Memphis. It was a punt return.
Yeah, Memphis. That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
Punt return, and because like there was like Memphis had a number 7, and like Mississippi State had a number 7, and the refs screwed it up, and yeah, they screwed it up bigly, and Mike Leach wasn't happy. And then after the game, they issue out like, yeah, we messed up. Heads need to roll, Dave.
No, it's brutal. It's brutal. I agree with you. That is brutal. It's not good when that's the theme of the weekend, and a weekend where like significant teams lost, significant teams were challenged, almost lost. That can't be the story. But
yeah, what about the taunting? It's such an arbitrary, like, we're going to call taunting here because the guy spun the ball, but we're not going to call taunting. Get rid of the taunting call. Hashtag point of emphasis. Yeah. it's so bad, Dave. And what do you want, these players to be robots? Like, it's going to happen in a big playoff game. Ew. Mark my words.
Eesh.
Store it in my called it notebook.
I call it notebook. Well, I love it when we get those right. Like you were saying about Fresno State. That was a great moment for all of us. It was like, oh, we totally called that. We were on that the whole week. I love that. Let's look at some of these scores and see if we missed anything. I don't think we did. That was pretty good, Andy. Well done. Yeah, no, that's just about everything. Oh yeah, Clemson. Clemson's offense is ass. Can I just say that?
Oh yeah, you can. That game, Georgia Tech almost came back at the end. Clemson had to stop them at the goal line, I think.
Wow.
I don't know. That game started late. I hate Dabo. That game was unwatchable. But it was I saw the very, very end.
I got you. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just not a good offense. DJ Ugulagowe. I mean, listen. I think he's trying. It's his first season there. I totally get it, but I don't think that's a good offense. I just don't see points very often with them.
No, that conference stinks.
Yeah. So
we can talk about Miami. We don't have to talk about Miami, but yeah, woo! Oh. Ron called that one. And then Michigan State's not getting enough respect. Mel Tucker. They were all laughing at that hire, and rightfully so. It's not like he was that good at Colorado, but
good for him so far.
He's got his mojo working.
So far, so good. I think that's cool. I don't know how good they are though, and that's why I'm looking at them right now, their point spread. I'm like, I don't know. I think
take them against Nebraska -5. I wrote it down.
I would probably lean that way. Yeah, I'd probably take Michigan State there. Yeah, I wouldn't take Nebraska. Fuck that. I wouldn't do that right now. But no, I think you're right. So, all right, very good. Let's go ahead and go to this week's action. And again, I think there's just such a dearth of games compared to what we have. I will note though, before we go to this week's action, you do see that Oregon has moved up to number 3 on the rankings. I love it. I think it's great. Doesn't mean a lot this early in the year, but good for them. And Ohio State, yeah, I mean, why would you expect them to move up much? They beat some tomato cans, fine, but I'm not that impressed with them either. The interesting one is Iowa. I'm not sure. I've been thinking that Iowa's going to be sneaky this year.
Oh, that's hideous. I hate that. Did you watch the Cincinnati Indiana game?
I did watch that game. Wait, hold on. Let me get the. I did watch that game, and I certainly watched the first 3 quarters. I cannot believe they covered. at the end of that. They looked like garbage for the first half.
They did, especially in that first half. I was tweeting about it. My mom was like, "You tweeted 40 times on Saturday." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I counted them all up. I was angry. A lot of bets. Yeah. There's only so many times I can slam a hand against the wall and stuff like that. I gotta have an outlet
some way. I know, but seriously, it just, I knew it was going to be a very tricky game. That I knew. But what I didn't know, I didn't think that Cincinnati was going to struggle to score like that. That was sad for a while. They got very lucky to get out of there with a win.
I agree.
Indiana outplayed them for almost the entire game. Defensively, they were on top of everybody. Their coverage was good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't know how that came apart, but it did. And it's because if you remember, around the third quarter, you had dueling kickoff returns or something like that, so maybe that broke up the mojo. But
yeah, when Cincinnati returned a touchdown, that was okay, now they might mean business now.
Yeah, and then they pulled away after that, basically. So, you got to give a lot of credit to Indiana, but it's just crazy that it ended up with a Cincinnati cover. I don't call it a bad beat, but it's kind of a bad beat because it just feels like a bad beat. If you had asked someone in the middle of the third quarter, do you think they cover this game? No, hell no. They're losing. They're losing by 10. It's I don't.
Yeah, it felt like Cincinnati was going to lose outright for most of that game.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if I say good job out of them or what, but they're gonna clearly have to play better than that if they're gonna be a serious contender for the playoff. I don't think that's gonna get it done. So we'll see. All right. So, so the featured games. Yeah, that was a great. I'm glad you brought that up though, because I was very concerned about Cincinnati's scenario there. So good that they got the win, but it was not a good look for them at all. I mean, that's all I can say. So let's see.
5-4 Dodgers now. I need them.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Was that
We need the Phillies. We need the Phillies to hang on.
Ooh, look at
Parlay
this. They
action.
get the bases loaded. Look at this. This looks good. I can see. Oh, Marquez at home. Eesh. Yeah, have fun with that, Colorado. He can be all over the place sometimes. Oh, they're going to the pen. Ooh.
Cedric, I got the Philly game on. Cedric Mullins. When does he become a Yankee? Brett Gardner and bag of balls for Cedric Mullins. Think that gets it done?
Bag of balls. That's funny. All right, so let's look at these games. You can see not even close to the amount of juice that the NFL has as far as featured games. You can suggest another game if you want, Andy, but that's all we got.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, there was. I had Purdue. That Jeff Brom is so dead to me. What? I mean, now Notre Dame playing Wisconsin, and they're the underdog. So, and Wisconsin's giving up. That's a lot of points. Wisconsin 6.5. Like Wisconsin doesn't really.
I need to
go
change
up and down
that.
the field.
Is Notre Dame against Purdue or Wisconsin? I thought it was Wisconsin. Wasn't it Wisconsin?
Oh no! So the Notre Dame Purdue was last week.
Yeah, that's what happened.
But yeah, Purdue, like that is Purdue. I should have been 2-2, but that's okay. That's all right. Oh, yeah. Purdue had so many chances to go up like 10-0 against Notre Dame, and they just they got chicken shit play on 3rd and 1. They didn't get 4th and 1. Just these archaic plays, and then Notre Dame goes for it on 4th and 1. And they score 7 right after Purdue goes for it on 4th and 1, and they don't get anything. Just haunting sequences like that. Notre Dame now, they should be 1-2. Instead, they're 2-1.
Toledo should have won too.
They play Wisconsin. That's obviously the biggest game of the week based on rankings and stuff. Yeah, it's not a very sexy slate. There's a lot of games that we can all gamble on, but in terms of games that are affecting playoffs and the drawing in the casual fan, there's not a lot. What's the map like again?
Oh yeah, so wait, do they have maps for college? I didn't know about that.
No, I meant your list.
This featured game thing. Okay, let's go back to it. So yeah, disregard the first bullet point. It was a terrible job out of me.
Texas A&M Arkansas is a good one. That's the Gary Danielson game.
Yeah, I like that matchup too. I think that I actually think Arkansas will give them a game. They've been pesky this year. I like them. Sam Pittman is an interesting coach. I mean, he seems like kind of a Mongo too, but
he is. I'm borrowing a phrase from the Barstool Show. He's like a poor man's Ed Orgeron.
Ah, wow. To be a poor man of that.
I actually heard I heard him on a podcast. He is as bumpkin as the day is long.
I figured, yeah. Now look at the third one in that bullet point. We have North Carolina versus Georgia Tech at 7:30.
Yeah, North Carolina plays 0. Did you watch any of that North Carolina Virginia game? I did. I don't know why. Why? Tell you why. I had Virginia +8, but
they did not.
They were
cover that,
Virginia had 39 points in cover. North Carolina had 59. I think it was a 59-39 final.
Yep.
Howell makes some great throws. He also makes some dumb throws too.
He's a chucker. He's a lot like Brett Favre.
He's a chucker. That's a great way to describe him. He's a Baker Mayfield chucker. I don't know anything about Georgia Tech. That's ooh.
Oh, I thought it was gonna fall down. Dang.
I want to find out.
Oh, what the? Did you see that? Or
no, I got the Philly game.
Oh, you got the Philly game. So Justin Turner hit a line drive. It looked like it was going to fall in, but then Blackman caught it. But it looked like Seager was doubled up. No, maybe it was Trey Turner who was doubled up at second base on the play. But 1 run score, so it's tied up at 5-5.
5-5.
Yeah.
End of the inning or 2 outs?
2 outs. It's a terrible. You shouldn't get doubled up there. That's a bad job out of. Well, Trey probably doesn't play there that much because he should have. He used to be at the Nationals. What am I talking about?
I'm trying to look at the Fowler Herb Street game.
Oh yeah, it's not. It's like the Oklahoma game. That's their game. It's like Oklahoma versus.
Oh no, West Virginia, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
7:30 ABC.
that should be on there, right? Should I put that on there? I should have put that on there. Yeah, I'd probably put that on there. Because you said that West Virginia might be pesky there. So maybe, that might be deserving. So I'll...
Arizona, Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, don't put it on there. I'm just
No, I won't. Don't worry. But you're looking
some
at
of these announcers, like some of these like color analysts are like anyone could be a color analyst if you played.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I don't remember any notable
Rutgers,
games.
Michigan. Sean McDonough game.
I'll say this. You know what? Rutgers could be.
Rutgers is covering.
Yeah.
Calling it.
I think so too.
Rutgers is calling it. I mean, Rutgers is
covering it. Yeah. Calling it.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, Michigan had. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, they blew the hell out of whoever the MAC team was that they were playing last week.
Western Michigan,
yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'm not surprised at that. I don't think that's a surprise. So good on them, but that means literally nothing. Like scoring 63 points against the MAC teams, like scoring 63 points against air. MAC teams don't defend against Power 5 teams, and that's just the one thing that I have finally learned about the MAC. Don't bet on the MAC versus a Power 5 team. Like, it's just not going to end.
Unless it's PJ Flex circa 2016.
Right. Yeah.
Or Buffalo, when Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo with Leopold. Yeah.
Cotta, I don't know. You know what I mean. There's some rare exceptions, but yeah. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I remember famously when I picked, I think, this is years ago when Babe Ruth was still there. Like, I picked Bowling Green like plus like 40 or something, and they didn't cover. They didn't cover at Ohio State. Needless to say, so I guess that's it as far as this week's action too. So I'm ready for picks. Let me go ahead and just run these out. I'll be quick with these because I do want to talk to you about the Ryder Cup. So that's why I want to go through this quickly. So let's do it. All right. So let's start with my picks. Week 4 in the slate. And strikeout for Will Smith, and that ends the inning for the Dodgers.
He said 5-5. Gives us a chance, Dave.
Yeah, we're in the mix. I love it. I have FanDuel implications in this game, too, so the Dodgers would definitely be in their best interest to score more runs, so I'm all about it. All right, week 4.
Hey, we're getting off track here. I don't care, though. This is fun. You're doing your own show.
I love it.
So is California going to have sports betting at some point? Is there a bill that's presented?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any votes coming up?
I haven't heard anything tangible yet, but there's definitely demand for it.
There should be, because then you got to decide who gets the whole pie, like Morongo, the tribal casino. Stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's coming.
It's going to happen. I'll tell you that. I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. There's a lot of moving parts to it, but it will happen. I know it. All right.
Have you been to Morongo lately?
I haven't been to Morongo. I did go to Pachanga, and that place is cool. I like it there.
I see the commercials watching Dodger games.
Oh, nice. So the Morongo? Yeah. I drive by it. I've driven by it, so it's not bad. Yeah, it's a good spot. All right, so let's go to that's actually close to where your mom is, right? Like around.
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Okay.
Because there's like the outlets are there.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be very traffic area too.
Yeah, 100%.
Depending on where you go.
Yeah, but let's get to it. All right, picks for week 4 of college football. Let's see if I can find the slide. There we go. We're gonna start with additional value, and it's as simple as taking. Yeah, it's as simple as this. We just talked about Dino Babers, which is funny. But Syracuse is a dead team. I don't know. I mean, maybe they covered a spread in the last couple weeks, but every time I see them, they're getting trashed. Why would I think differently with Liberty? Liberty is actually one of the upstart teams in college football. They're giving 6 at Syracuse. I see no argument for taking Syracuse to cover that, let alone win the game. You really think that team with that shitty defense is going to win a game this year? That is a terrible team. And I think a lot of people have been calling for Babers to get the boot before the season's over. So it's just like what Andy was saying about the Jaguars in the NFL. There is literally no argument, and it's kind of the same with UConn. Like, even though UConn covered barely against Army, it's like at the last second touchdown or something. But they're just one of those teams where you should never, ever kick any confidence in them to cover a spread. So Liberty -6, game 1. Game 2, this is more of a feel. Illinois seems pesky. I think they have Peters back. I'm going to go Illinois getting 11 at Purdue. And it's kind of like what you were saying, Andy, about Braum. He's showing a whole lot of nothing with his coaching. So I trust Illinois more here. New coach, the transfer quarterback from Michigan, decent enough. They have their defense is okay. But I just can't lay 11 points with Jeff Braum right now. I'm not going to do it. So Illinois plus 11 to go at Liberty -6 for week 4. All right. Now to John's picks. And we continue. Let's see what John has for us here. Week 4, John. Hello, John. Welcome in.
There's John.
John, it's good to see you. Hope you're excited about the Ryder Cup too. I'm sure he is. So, game number 1 for John. This is a very, very nice pick. I kind of like it. I mean, I was on the fence as to whether to play it for the podcast, but he's going to go with Mississippi State getting 2.5 at home against LSU. I love this a lot. LSU just ran it up against some, FCS team, and so people are getting this false sense of security with them. Orgeron stinks, all right? I've been saying this for years. I think this will be a very interesting battle of Mongo coaches. So he's going to be on the side of the value with Mississippi State. John also has Toledo giving 5 against Ball State in one of the first MAC matchups of the season, intra-conference. So it's Toledo giving 5 to go with Mississippi State, getting 2.5 for John in Connecticut in week 4. I love that. Pretty good. So now we continue with Ron in New Jersey's picks. The agency. Oh, let me turn that back off, and that back on. Okay, so here are Ron's picks for week number 4. Let's go this one. There we go. All right, so Ron in New Jersey has these picks for college football. He's going to take NC State getting 10 against Clemson. As we talked about, Clemson's offense is very underwhelming. And NC State keeps getting hyped up as a pretty solid team in the ACC. And now it's the ACC, so I have no feel for that. But Ron's going to take the side of the underdog here. NC State plus 10. Game number 2 for Ron. He's going to go San Jose State plus 2.5 versus Western Michigan. I don't have anything to say about that. So, once again, NC State plus 10. San Jose State plus 2.5 for Ron in week 4. Okay. So, now to Andy in Seattle. Let me cue you up here visually. And we're ready for your week 4 picks when you are.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'm gonna take Louisville -2 against Florida State at Florida State. Louisville screwed me over last week. That Friday night game against Central Florida, but it's okay. I don't think Louisville's any good, but I just feel like at this point Florida State is just a complete doormat. I took them against Wake Forest like an absolute clown. I think this Mike Norvell just over his head. It's not a good fit. He's not in Willie Taggart territory yet, but Dave, he's coming close.
Oh.
Like he could lose that alumni quick. They've never been 0-3 before. I think the first, or they haven't started 0-3 since 1976 or something like that, and they're 0-3 now. And they can't get out of their own way. Their defense looked atrocious. I don't think Wake Forest is that good, and they gave up 1,000,000 points to them. And Louisville, I don't know. They looked like crap against Ole Miss, but Ole Miss, as we talked about, they can do many good things on offense with Lane Kiffin, and maybe they're just getting better. They had a crazy game against Central Florida. Their quarterback looked much better. So give me Louisville -2, game number 1. Game number 2, Dave, I'm not taking Stanford for the program, but I'm going to bet on them. You know what? I'm going to take Cal in Washington, getting 7.5 from Woof. And if you can confirm that line, because I looked at this yesterday, but I saw Cal getting 7.5.
1 second. Just use the fancy dandy look up
and
tool.
The only reason why I'm taking this game is I hate Washington. I don't like their coach. I'm not going to say that they figured everything out just because they beat Arkansas State 52-3 or whatever. In Cal, their coach Justin Wilcox used to be the defense coordinator for UW. So he's going back to UW. Cal, they look kind of crappy against Nevada, but yeah, it's weird. The transitive property kind of would have fit here because let me pop up their schedule right here. Cal lost to Nevada, but then who'd they beat week 2? Let me look. This is like Mike dead air over here, but hold on, I'm just killing time. Cal lost to Nevada week 1. Oh yeah, they lost a close one against TCU and covered, and then beat Sacramento State. I just feel like they're going to keep it close to UW. UW hasn't shown me much. Yeah, 50. You could beat Arkansas State 52-3. I'm still going to be like, well, you lost to Montana and you lost to Michigan in embarrassing fashion. Justin Wilcox, keep it close. Give me Cal plus 7.5, and give me Louisville -2. A week 4 in the college pigskin.
I like it, and I confirmed it on the Vegas Insider. It is 7.5. 7.5. Nice spot there. Yeah, I love that too. I do love, and let me before we go to Tommy's picks, I also endorse highly the Stanford pick, and this will be a lead into Tommy's picks too. But seriously, the history long term with Stanford against UCLA, they are UCLA. I mean, Stanford is UCLA's daddy. For the most part, there was that one game recently where UCLA finally won in Stanford, and they won by a lot too. But everything up until that point was all Stanford. So you asked me what I thought about Chip Kelly. I think he's a clown, but I did think he's got an interesting scheme. So I did think that UCLA was going to be pretty good this year, but that's one of those. Well, for me, it's going to be another. Even though they did it. I know they did it a couple years ago, but it's still a scenario where they have to prove it to me that they can beat Stanford on the road, especially coming off a loss like that. I think they seem a little vulnerable. So we'll see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking, you'll see the tweets. I'm taking David Shaw.
It's so interesting that you're doing it 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. That's definitely interesting.
Yeah, well, they're catching points, so
yeah, I think it's great. It's the way to go. I think it's a smart play, in my opinion. So, and it's 6-5 Colorado.
Yeah, I'm not a Gatorade fan. Ugh, I know his name's Gatterall, but
he
they scratch and claw their way back.
And another single. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. He had like a good half a year last year. He just throws too many pitches around the heart of the plate. He's just not good. He's fast. So what? Anybody can throw the ball 898 these days.
Hey, what's Joe Kelly's deal? Is he what's his deal? Is he back or is he hurt again?
Good question. I haven't seen him, so I couldn't tell you. Sorry about that, but
I like Joe Kelly.
He's not bad actually. He's been all right. He certainly exceeded. I didn't have a high bar. I was down here, but
he throws gas with movement. But yeah,
he does throw good stuff. Everybody's, I know a lot of people talk about that. Well, he's got the stuff. He does have the stuff. His stuff is really nasty. He can even get serious movement on his pitches. But anyway, let's continue with the guest picks. Tom in New Jersey with the college picks, and I was more in agreement with his picks for the NFL. He does not have a bonus pick for college, but he'll provide these 4 picks for us. Okay, here we go. Game number 1 for Tom. He's going to take Notre Dame getting 6.5 at Wisconsin. Now, that one I agree with. I think that's a good pick. I like that pick. Game number 2, he will go head-to-head with Ron and select Clemson giving 10 at NC State. I don't like that pick. Andy, I'll let you break the tie on that. Let's see. Game number 3, because he gets to do 4 picks this week. He's going head-to-head with you, Andy. He's taking Florida State. +2. And game number 4, he's effectively going head-to-head with both of us, but not officially. He's going to go UCLA -5 at Stanford. Now they can do it, but I'm not buying it. So, so again, Notre Dame plus 6.5, Clemson minus 10, Florida State plus 2, UCLA minus 5, and I saw Andy shake his head off camera. Those are the picks for Tommy in week 4. And yeah, I'm pretty much with you on that. Andy. I best of luck to him, but I don't feel great about his chances in half of those. But we'll see.
I did this because it was a loud out, as you just saw.
Oh, you're looking at the baseball in that scenario. Okay.
But no, Tommy like goes out of his way to say how much he like. Why do you guys take too long to talk about college? Like, well, and then you hear his picks, and you're like, yeah, maybe you should pay attention to the college.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna go with Ron over Tommy, and I'm not gonna. The last time I took Notre Dame to cover was when they played Clemson, and I tweeted up a shitstorm there. But in this game, I don't know, because as we alluded to, it's not like Wisconsin goes up and down the field, and it's the Jack Cohn is playing his old team. So God damn it, that game is. I'll have to get involved with it somehow, but gun to the head, Notre Dame probably does keep that relatively close. We're going head to head with Florida State, but so be it.
Yep.
See what happens.
You can never tell with those ACC games. And yeah, I mean, the one I disagreed with the most was Clemson giving 10. Like, I just don't feel like their offense is in position to do that yet, but maybe they do it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about NC State. That's my problem. Like, I know that they've been talked about being great. Andy, from what you've seen of them, what do you think of their
I try to watch as little ACC as I can.
Oh, okay, that's a smart decision.
Oh, NC State, Georgia Tech, just not my style. I've watched too much Miami this year. I've watched too much North Carolina this year. I've watched Virginia. I don't mind watching Virginia because I like Bronco Mendenhall, and Virginia Tech is tolerable because of Fuente, but NC State, I never liked, going back to the old BC coach there, Tom O'Brien.
Oh, man, that does take me back, yeah.
I stopped watching NC State after, Phil Rivers left there.
That's a while ago, all right. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, so...
And Russell Wilson was there, but I didn't really pay attention to Russell Wilson when he was at NC State.
Gotcha, yeah. It's funny, guys like Russell Wilson and J.J. Watt, they played on those teams. I was doing podcasts during those years they played. I don't think we ever talked about them. That's so interesting. You just never know where the NFL talent comes from.
Well, it's also NC State, even their basketball team was good. It's just they're just such they're not quite an afterthought, but it's they're just completely under the thumb of North Carolina. Right. More so than Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. NC State, when do you ever really think of them?
Maybe March Madness, but
yeah.
But in football, probably never. I don't think I remember. Yeah, hardly ever. Yeah, with football.
NC State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a team. They're a team. That's what I can tell you. So let's go talk about some golf. I'm very interested to get into the Ryder Cup. So now this is an interesting matchup, because there has been so much hype about the American team. They're a significant favorite in this scenario. Do you think that they will win with this tournament being taking place in Whistling Straits, which is in Wisconsin for whatever it's worth, or can the Euros pull the upset? I want to get your handicap of this matchup.
Well, on paper, the U.S. is a very strong favorite. They're minus 200. 9 out of the top 10 players in the world are on the American team, except for John Rahm. But then the world rankings can be debated anyway, how the criteria is to create the top 10 anyway. On paper, yeah, they should win. But the European team has won 7 out of 9 Ryder Cups. They're not on. They're it's an away match for Europe. But from what I've heard on the people that know golf better than me, they hold their pencil like this. They say, like, the way the course is on the lake with the wind, like, the crowd won't be as much of a factor as the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine, just because there's less area for, like, the Mongos to conglomerate or to get congested and to congregate. I mean, first tee notwithstanding, there's a big amphitheater, but throughout the course, there's just not as many areas for, like, big crowds to swell. And I don't think Europe's not going to have, like, any fans because the board, like, if you're from Europe, you can't come to America because of COVID.
Right.
Get vaccinated myself. It's just like, yeah, the Europe is going to be up against it, but I'm rooting so hard.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
Not because I hate my country. I like my country.
Right.
I like my country. But I also like winning bets. And what is Gatterall doing? Like, what, you gave up a run. What are you celebrating getting off the mound for?
Oh, he always does that shit. It's just calm down, guy. Like, seriously. Yeah, he's just. Yeah.
So here's the thing about in the past, America has had some unrootable guys on the team, like Bubba Watson and Zach Johnson and Webb Simpson. Like, not fun golfers to watch, not fun golfers to root for. And now this year, it's like Bryson doesn't really. He used to bother me a lot more than he does now. Koepka is just I like Koepka. Like, I like watching him. He's good. But it's a little tough to take. What Koepka said, there might be other golfers that echo his thoughts, but they don't say it. Like, so when Koepka says he doesn't like Ryder Cup week because he can't take naps and he has to practice and he can't be on his couch watching SportsCenter, it's like, dude, it's 1 week out of every 2 years and you're complaining that you can't nap. That is like, shut up. Like, that is so tough to take. And I know the whole thing might be a little overblown out of proportion when, like, the Euros get along better. Like, that might be a little taken out of, like, that might not matter as much, but it counts. And I think here's the thing, what I'll say about Ryder Cup. Like, you know, like, Dog says, like, well, Josh Fields wouldn't know George Blanda if he fell on him. Like,
sure.
I think with the European team, like, they respect Ryder Cup memories and highlights and traditions, whereas, like, the Americans, like, they might not hold previous Ryder Cup memories and traditions and being a part of that team as much as the Euros. Like, when the Europeans say, like, being a part of a winning Ryder Cup team is just as important as winning a major, like, that's not bullshit. They mean it. And I don't think the Americans care as much. They'd rather win the majors than be on the Ryder Cup teams. That, I think, is a much more tangible difference than, like, oh, these guys get along and these guys, like, don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Euros being labeled such underdogs now, despite, like, yeah, the talent gap is real, but also they've won 7 out of 9 and they're big underdogs. Like, that'll be some inspiration for them.
Oh, you got to be motivated by that. Like, it's always funny how that works. It's like when people don't think you're good, that motivates people a lot. Like, oh, you don't think I'm good? I'll show you. I'll go hit a 500-yard drive, like right now. Like, Rahm will be up there.
John Rahm is the best player in the world, number
Absolutely.
one. And I think him and Sergio are going to get paired up. They're Spaniards. John Rahm used to look up to Sergio. That's going to be a fun team.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it now. Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay are going to get paired up because they're California bros.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau are going to be paired up. I'm calling that because not like Scheffler. He's
they're
like,
they're not going to pair up Koepka and DeChambeau.
No, probably be Bryce or be like DJ and Koepka maybe, or DJ and Colin Morikawa, or Harris English and Koepka. It'll be one of those combinations. Spieth and Thomas will be together. Lee Westwood, Paul Casey.
I agree with that. Yeah, and the thing of it is, some of these guys aren't really great in big spots. Schauffele was a great example, if you remember, in the Masters. Like, he just tanked. I think it was Schauffele near the end. So that's a little bit questionable. Whereas guys like Rahm, he seems to live for the big moment. You know, that's a very different scenario. And I'm going to look at the rest of this roster. Let me see. You mentioned Casey. Oh, yeah, Victor Hovland is interesting.
I like Victor.
I like him, too. I think he can do it. Shane, he's won it in a big spot.
I like Shane Lowry. How can you not like Shane Lowry?
It's impossible not to like Shane Lowry. And Ian Poulter's cool, but he's probably not going to be a huge factor in that scenario. But pretty good.
Oh, he will. He's big.
Think...
He'll do this.
Oh.
Call him the postman. Always delivers.
Oh, I like it. I like the confidence. So, no, 200. Is that true? Oh, that's tempting. Well, I don't want to mush it. I'm not gonna do it.
You can mush it. Have fun. Gamble.
Yeah, do it. Maybe just for one unit, I guess I'd do it.
What site do you use?
Oh, I'm still on Bovada, but I've kind of got my issues with them. Like, well, how do you get your money back if you win money?
Yeah, Bovada's tough.
They're the worst.
Even Cat's Coup have issues with Bovada.
Oh yeah, stinks. Yeah, so I really wish they would work on that. Like, I don't ever want to get into Bitcoin. We've already seen issues with Bitcoin in recent years. Like, I'm not touching Bitcoin. Like, I don't trust Bitcoin yet. It's just too early for me to get into that. But all in all, yeah, it's fun anyway. It's not really about that, but it is annoying that you can't, like, if you do have money in there, you can't take it back easily, at least. It's kind of like, what is that? Like, that's kind of effed up. Anyway, it's gonna be a good tournament for sure. I'm really looking forward. I'll try my best to stay on top of it. I'm usually bad at this. It just kind of happens, and then like it's in the middle of like all this other stuff with the football. So I want to do it this year. This is a great group, and we'll see. So,
are you an REO Speedwagon fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're at the Pew. My friend just sent me a picture. He's at the concert at the Puyallup Fair. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you probably haven't heard of the Puyallup Fair, but it's
near you, right?
Yeah. So tonight it's Styx and REO Speedwagon. Tomorrow it's Macklemore. Fuck off. And then it's Darius Rucker on the 20. Yeah, I should have gone.
That would have been a good spot. I mean, you could skip the Macklemore thing and just have some hot dogs.
Get the Macklemore, yeah. Old Dominion. It's country though.
Right on. No, that's pretty good. I mean, REO Speedwagon still got it after all this time. Styx is interesting because my dad went to see Styx maybe like 3 years ago at the county fair in Ventura County, in California, and he said that even without Dennis DeYoung, they can still be pretty good because they just get this other guy to kind of mimic him. Still
so REO, it's the same. It's not, how like a couple quickies, like I saw Leonard Skinner, but like Leonard Skinner is like the founders are all gone.
Yeah.
So REO, it's the same people at this point.
I can't say. I'm assuming Kevin Cronin's still part of that. And that's probably all you really need at this point. So, but I can't say. Although I'm a fan, I'm not such a big fan that I remember like the entire band history and who was on the band and in which era and so on.
So you can't tell who this is?
Wait, hold on. Let me get that. Let me pop it up, Victor. It might be him. It's hard to say. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's him. That's interesting. I'll take it. I think he's still in there based on that photo. I don't have a lot to go on. Oh, before we go, I got some chat questions from James Lill. I'm so sorry, James. I should have seen this earlier. Well, he said, "Can you guys help me? Would you take Stanford +7 versus UCLA?" Answer is yes. We talked about that earlier. Then he says Arkansas +7 versus Texas A&M. And I think we both would agree on Arkansas on that one, right?
I would take Arkansas. Why would I take Arkansas? Is he on the board, this guy?
I don't know.
Or is he just...
He might just be a random YouTube guy.
Anyway, Arkansas should have a nice, big, lively crowd. And I'm just never been a big fan of Jimbo.
Right.
And I think, as you mentioned, this Pittman is just like Pittman's just riding this wave, and just see how it's gonna crash at some point. It might crash spectacularly, but like let's just ride the wave until the crash.
I love it. All right, so the final his final question is UAB +4 versus Tulane.
Ooh. Like John could probably break that down. I think John's always had a soft spot for UAB. You've always had a soft spot for Ron Fritz or Willie Fritz.
Willie Fritz? Yeah.
That's a good game.
That's a good one. That's actually a quality conference.
That's
USA.
a game that I'd rather watch that than I'd rather watch that. I'd rather watch Texas San Antonio at Memphis, UAB Tulane than that Clemson NC State game. Give me those games. Give me the hungry teams in the non-Power 5 conferences over the fledgling teams in the Power 5 conference.
You do get a lot more juice. There's a lot of energy in those games. But just to repeat, did you take UAB in that game? I think you did.
No, just gun to the head, I would take the underdog in that game.
Okay, so that would be UAB because they're getting 4.
UAB.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I would too. I mean, as much as I like Willie Fritz, he did get trashed recently.
No, I like Tulane as an underdog.
Yeah, they're better as an underdog. Completely agree. So, I'll take UAB too. So, to summarize for you, James, if you're watching this later, we like Stanford +7. We do like Arkansas +7. We basically like all 3 of your picks. Like, they're all good. We're all in agreement.
Good luck, James.
Yeah, thanks, and good luck, James. I agree. So, Andy, let's give it to you for final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up tonight.
It's the first day of fall. The last couple of days of baseball should be exciting. Dodgers and Giants. What's going to happen with them? You think they're going to play a tiebreaker? Are they going to be 162?
I think it's all on the table. You know,
I called them with the Cardinals. They've won their 11th game in a row. Every single freaking year.
I know.
They never win they're never 95 and they're never 95 and what's the math? 95 and 77? 95 and 67? That's what it would be? Fuck.
I carry that.
They're always 89 and 73.
Right.
85 and 77. Yeah, so it would be nice. And they've won 10 in a row. And they're just so...
It's frustrating because it's like, oh, good, we don't have to deal with the Cardinals in the playoffs this year, and then they do that. Like, they do it every
Scott
freaking year.
Rowland's still on that team?
I know, seriously.
David Eckstein?
Carpenter actually is still on that team, or Wainwright is still on that team. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's had an incredible second half.
Yeah, no doubt. That guy Woodward, I think, whoever that guy was that came off the IL, he had a great start. I got to give it to him. That was really great. I don't know. Maybe Arenado's finally starting to hit. Maybe that's why that's happening. But I can't say. I can't.
Yeah. So between the Cardinals doing what they did, UCA and San Diego, I mean, man, they really gagged it second half. UCH called that.
Yeah. I was talking with him about that. Yeah.
Find out what happens. You get UCH on the show by the end of the year.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
he'll be on for guest picks for sure. I think that is assured. Like, I'll get him on for that. But
sweet.
Yeah, they tanked. And he was like, yeah, the Padres just aren't that good. He was kind of like, he was really trashing them when I was talking to him down there in San Diego. But no, they're done. I'm not worried about them. I don't think the Dodgers win the division. I'll just come out and say that. However, I would take them against anybody. I'm not even worried about it. I'm like, 1 game playoff, giddy up. We got Max Scherzer, we got Walker Buehler, and if either of them can't get it done, you could get Kershaw, you could get Urias.
Urias.
Yeah, Urias, absolutely.
Urias is not going to get any Cy Young consideration because he doesn't go deep enough in games, even though he might have 20 wins when all said and done. But no tournament wins, Phil. Why don't we care about Urias' wins? They all should fucking count for something. He's 18-3.
Well, I'm not big on wins either, but certainly that's a good spot. That's a good spot. That's a great spot. He is pitching really. That's probably his best season so far.
He's legit.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he has been kind of. His role's never been defined because he's he gets hurt fairly often. Although this year, knock on wood, not too much. And he's he gets stretched out as a starter, then he's in relief. But he was really good last year out of the bullpen in October, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, he got the series clinching out in the World Series. He was very, very good.
Yeah, that's right. Because we were Robert's no binder for Robert. You got to stick with what's working. Keep him in.
He did it.
Keep him in.
Give it to him. I give him credit there. Yeah. I mean, I still have give and take with Dave, but he did play that very well. I think he did a great job riding him. So I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, Bellinger's just dead.
I tried to give him every opportunity to come back, but dude can't even hit 200, man. He stinks. Something's wrong
Crazy
with him.
how good he was 2 years ago.
I know.
What was that?
He won the MVP in 2018 or 20. I think it was 2019, maybe.
If you're a Dodger fan and I'm not trying to be like J-Hop, but it's the opposite. It's you're he was so good in 2019 that you want him to just turn on the switch, but then just time and time again, it's he just can't. He can't get it going.
No, it's already September. It's pretty much over.
He needs a haircut too.
Yeah, that's a good point. He does need a haircut. It's what happened to you, man? Did you become a caveman over the off season? I didn't.
Just cut the hair, and that. Yeah. I mean, I don't care about if he was hitting. Keep the hair, but he just needs. He's got to change his rah-rah, change his mojo.
You're right. Whatever you can do to get that going. I feel bad for him. He seems like a good guy. I just want him to succeed. I don't root for that, and it's too bad. He's such a great. Yeah. He has so much good speed. He's a great defender. I don't want him to be like that the rest of his career. That's just weird. We'll find out later what it is, but it's a good thing the Dodgers are so stacked everywhere else. I mean,
they're so stacked. Trey Turner, Betts hasn't been Betts this year.
You're right.
He's had injuries.
You're right.
You think you worry about Evan Turner on the base pass?
Evan Turner?
Justin Turner.
Oh, sorry, Justin Turner. Almost got confused. I mean, a little bit, yeah. He's not getting any younger, so
he's not. I make because I bet on the Dodgers a lot, and every time Turner makes, you just Google his name and whoa. Shocker, Justin Turner looks like a jackass on the base pass. But
yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. I honestly, even with all that, I would take them against anybody right now. I feel even with the bullpen being what it is, I would just take them against anybody. I mean, because what you could do is you could take a starter. They have a lot of starters, and then you could put them into the bullpen, which ought to alleviate that scenario. They're fine, and I've seen that Jansen can throw 94, 95 again, so that's a good sign too. I'm staying with them. We'll see. If they lose, they lose. But I'm just saying, I just feel who's better than them in terms of top to bottom. Better than them, I don't think anyone is.
You go to any games this year?
Yeah. Actually, I went to a couple. I did. I went to a couple. Yeah. Famously, I went to the one against the Cubs. That was a disaster. Don't ever do that. That was just an absolute disaster. But if they won the game, it was nice. It was a good game. So I went to that. Yeah, I've been to a couple games. Have you seen the Dodgers? Have they come to Seattle at all, or have they been?
No, but I went out. I have girlfriend and I at the time. This is 2003. We went out there. We actually long story short, we went to the Dodgers went to Fenway Park in June of 2004, and the people in front of us, not behind us, in front of us, they were from LA, and we were just shooting the crap with them. Like, we're going to LA in like 2 months, and they were like, we'll sell you our. I forgot if they sold us this game to like, we have season tickets. Like, we'll give you our seats, or we'll sell you our seats for when you come out. I want to go to Dodger Stadium, so we went to a Dodgers Braves game. You could Google it up. You go Baseball Reference. The final score was 2-1.
Wow.
Look it up right now. Look it up.
Let's do it. Let's look it up.
Google up. Dodgers 2004 season. It was in August. Jose Lima was
Lima
the starter.
time.
Yeah, Jose Lima started.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Adrian Beltre might have hit 2 home runs, but the score was 2-1.
Okay.
Gagne came in and gave up a run, but the final score was 2-1.
2004 or 2003? You said 2004?
2004.
Okay. So let's go here. 2-1 against Tampa Bay.
No, the Braves.
Oh, I'm sorry, Atlanta. Sorry. So let's go there. So is that showing up on the screen? Yeah, it is. Okay. It's hard to see it on the screen because it's so small.
Jose Lima started.
Lima started. Okay. Was that it? No. That's San Diego.
It would have been like August 22nd.
Oh, okay. Ooh, man, good memory out of you. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
August.
You have 3-2. You have 7-4.
Caesar Esteuris was.
Okay, so maybe it was later.
Okay, it was. I think it was the 3-2 game then.
Okay.
Funhouse me. Look up that box score though.
Let's see. Someone had 2 home runs. Let's see.
Was it Beltre that hit the home
Beltre.
runs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. 2 home runs. So
Yep. AJ remembers.
nice.
And who started for the Braves?
So the starter for the Braves, if we go to the box score, was John Thompson. Boy, you remember him?
No, but I remember Lima.
Yeah, there's Lima. You got it right there. And Gagne gave up, like you said.
Gagne blew. So what's the? Yeah, Gagne gave it up. Even though he must have had like 50-something saves that year.
Well, it's interesting because it's very interesting here because I remember very, very well that Gagne had like this run where he was not blowing a save, and it went on for over a year. Do you remember this?
I'm guessing this year they lost to the Cardinals in the playoffs.
They did. They lost in 4, but I remember that just winning the one game was a big news because the Dodgers were on this run of like losing a whole lot of playoff games in a row. So it was like a step in the right direction. But
it was, I love that stadium. I wanted to see Sean Green. Like those Dodger teams were good.
Yeah.
And then we went, this was before like you could like Google Maps and stuff. We were supposed to meet these other people at the bowling alley, and I stayed on the 405 too long.
We've all done that.
Turned into a thing.
That is funny.
San Pedro, is San Pedro a real thing?
Yeah, it's like if you go down 110 south all the way to the bottom, that's San Pedro.
Okay, yeah.
So
well, we were heading in that direction.
Okay.
I think we got to get off the highway.
Oh,
we found
wow.
the bowling alley eventually.
Oh, okay, nice. I'm glad that worked out. And those are the days of MapQuest. You have to print it out on paper and then go look it up. So those were the days of
yeah.
work.
So all that to say, I have been to Dodger Stadium.
That's cool.
I want to go again.
Oh, it's even better now. It's even better. Like the scoreboards are awesome. Like they mirror like the hexagonal look on both sides. Their scoreboards are super cool now. It's even better than it was back then. It's so nice. Like you should go. Getting in there is a pain in the butt, but once you're in there, it's awesome. So just get there early. That's always my advice.
Light rail doesn't stop by there, does it?
No, that's a talking point. There's no transportation. It stopped. Like you can take it to Union Station. Then you get creative as far as how you get from Union Station to Dodger Stadium, which is about another mile or so away from the Union Station.
You can take light rail to the USC Coliseum, correct?
Yeah, you can. That has been money because it makes it so easy to go to their games now. And I think I'd like to go to at least one. I just can't figure out which one. I don't know.
Let's look at their schedule.
Yeah, let's do it. So back to the browser. I think the one I liked was against Arizona or Oregon State. Oh, this is it.
We didn't even talk about Utah. The Brewer transfer. Well, Utah's a disaster.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, here we go.
Obviously, you got UCLA, USC is too tough of a ticket, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, if you really, it's not as tough as maybe like say LSU, Alabama might be, but it's still kind of tough. It's like $200 if you want to do that game.
They avoid Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah, they're lucky there because Oregon would have trashed them, I think.
And Arizona's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they just maybe go that BYU game Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, Wait, I don't see it on the board.
November 27th.
BYU? Oh, is it further down? Oh, there's more. Oh, there it is. I see it. Like Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, you're right. Totally on it. That would be good. Look at them. They're 3-0 right now. It's pretty good. But, yeah, so the one I was thinking of was this one, Oregon State, if you can see it near the top. I'm probably not going to do that game, but that's the one I was thinking of. Oh, fun fact.
That's 2 days from now.
Yeah, it's like this weekend, so probably not. I'm just going to let go of that one. But Utah, I could not recommend enough betting on USC that week because they own Utah. The last time that Utah won in LA, I don't even think they were in the Coliseum yet. That's how long ago it was. It was like 1911, like the last time that Utah beat USC in LA. So that I would strongly advise that for picks throughout everything else. But yeah, thanks for that, Andy. Good advice. I definitely will try to get in on that.
You've been to the Rose Bowl, right?
Yeah, I love the Rose Bowl. That's just the best. You haven't been there. I think you haven't been there, right?
No, I mean I've driven by it, but I've never been in the building.
Oh goodness, yeah. I mean, if you're in the area at all, let me know because it's completely worth it. Even for UCLA games, it's actually a good year to do it because they're kind of good this year. So I'd do it. It's kind of a tough spot with UCLA. It's like, for the purpose of the Pac-12, you want them to win this game. But it's UCLA. Like, I can't trust them. I just can't trust them in that scenario. We'll see. Maybe I'll be. Would you enjoy if UCLA went out and trashed Stanford despite the bet, or would you still be kind of ornery about it?
At this point, I don't know because there's already been so much cannibalization with the Pac-12.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And now, I want Oregon to stay relevant. Whatever, it takes to keep Oregon on its pedestal to try to flirt with
right. So more than anybody else, I want to root for Oregon too. I don't want them to slip in. I don't want a WTF game with them. I want them to win out.
They usually do have a WTF game.
I know.
That's their problem.
That's
I'm popping up Oregon's schedule now.
Let's do it. We'll take a quick look at them as well. But okay, so this is
they're going to beat Arizona this weekend. Ooh, next week, October 2nd, Oregon at Stanford.
Not again.
David Shaw, disruptor.
Oh no, they've done it before too. That's what's so frightening about that. They really have. Let me see.
ABC. So that's a tough game.
That's tough. I think even the game against UW might be a little tricky.
Now, Washington fans are going to think they have a chance November 6th, but I don't know.
Maybe not. The game at UCLA, that could be up for grabs.
Yeah.
I could see that going either way. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, I like it. Okay. That's pretty good stuff. So, anyway, Andy, this has been I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, holding the fort whereas most of our panel is gone. Enjoy your games. Enjoy the picks.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Let's hope the Dodgers only got 7 more outs to play with, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. I think they can do it. That bullpen for Colorado's trash, so I think they'll have a shot at it. But yeah, good luck on that front too. Hopefully they get it done for you, and me because I want them to win too. So Andy,
100%.
Yeah, 7th inning.
What's for dinner tonight?
I don't know yet. I haven't eaten yet. I'm hungry, so I'm thinking maybe chicken sandwich. Like hot Nashville hot spicy chicken sandwich, something like that, and some beer.
What did you buy? They have deli, chicken slice deli with the Nashville hot style. Boar's Head sells it.
Oh yeah.
Even Primo Taglio sells it too.
You're
like
right.
The Safeway stand.
Yeah, I've got Safeway near me. It's like the one I have right by me. Yeah. Maybe I could do that. I don't know if the deli's still open right now though. They're usually open till about 9. So maybe
Get Del Taco. I'm starving.
Oh, Del Taco sounds like a jam right now. That's a great idea. I might do the Del. I like it.
I had I actually did save it for the podcast, but I was actually going to save it for the podcast or wait for a couple quickies to be on the board. I don't know your thoughts on Chipotle, but in brisket, like you gotta be careful with brisket. And brisket encroaching on Mexican food is you gotta stay in your lane sometimes. But certain places have brisket, like brisket tacos, brisket enchiladas. So Chipotle has brisket now, and their brisket burrito was good.
Oh, really?
Was good.
This may be yet another pivot. I might just go with that. That sounds really good.
Is there a Chipotle near you?
Yeah, there is actually. I mean, I could get I could get some DoorDash from it too. So I mean, it's on 3rd Street Promenade, so I could it's totally gettable. Either I walk to it.
I mean, I know you got to go, but so if you drove to 3rd Street now, could you park pretty easily? There's always that big garage.
Oh,
there.
sure. Yeah. I think it's starting to get back to where it was tough to park again. It's actually, I'm seeing people back there again like they used to be. So it's kind of average right now. It's a good question.
Because we've talked about this on the board, like TI too. Like I would rather just drive on my own than be at the mercy of DoorDash.
Well, I get it. It's just that the parking in my building is just such a pain to get in and out of. But I totally get it.
Oh, where you live,
yeah.
Finding parking can be a pain in the
I have the parking. It's just that the carport is so tight. Like getting out of there is it's a chore. But if I can get out of there, then yeah, you're right. Like if it was easier for me to get in and out of the driveway or whatever, or the carport in my case, and I probably would do that more often. Like I'd probably go to I'd do more Del Taco runs. Well, the taco's weird here. The Del Taco drive-thru is weird. So what I do is I park and I get the food. I don't go through because the drive-thru's at a weird angle, and it's like you see all these scratches and scuff marks on the wall. It's like that's not a good sign.
Oh yeah, you don't want to mess around.
Nah. So I just park it and just get it. It's not a big deal. So, yeah, no, I love it. Great ideas. Maybe I will go. I could even walk to Chipotle and get the brisket thing.
Brisket.
Yeah. All right. I'm doing it. I'm going to walk over there. Hopefully they're open till 10. But even if they're open till 9, that's enough time. I can do it. So, Annie, thanks for the advice. That's great advice. I'm going to hit that up.
Let me know how you like it.
We'll do. Take care for now, my friend, and good luck on the picks.
All right, a lot of fun. Hey. I hope you're feeling better, Tommy.
Yeah, likewise. Take care, Tom, and take care, Andy.
All right, see you later, Dave.
See you, buddy.
Peace.
Bye. Andy, thank you so much, man. That was a really fun spot. So that's our show tonight. Thank you very much. And James Lola has responded to our advice, and we're glad you got those picks. We like all those underdogs. So good luck to all of you with your picks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend, and we should have a pretty solid week of football, particularly in the NFL. So until then, enjoy yourselves. Be safe out there. Do the right things, and social distance, masks, vaccines if you're able to do it. I'm Dave Medina. You can catch us on Twitter at DITCOW, on the web at DITCOW.com. And if you're looking for a podcast and you're not subscribed already, look for Dave in the City Out West and subscribe today. We will see you next time.